If I told you that there is a plant that can survive almost any type of plant parent, and it is not a snake plant, would you actually believe me? Well, I am going to share some plant care tips about this little not so famous plant, but first of all we have to call it. And we will need one of these. Wingardium Leviosa. No, that's actually a wrong spell, a different spell. Let's give it a try again. Right this time. Rhipsalis Cereuscula. Rhipsalis Cereuscula. Rhipsalis Cereuscula. And here it comes. So we are talking about this little beauty, and this is the easygoing plant that I am talking about. Let's get started with the number one thing that we need to know about our new plants, and this is the lighting, of course. For lighting requirements, this plant is actually really easygoing, and I mean it. So, bright light, okay. Medium light, okay. It can survive some shade, okay. It can survive some full sun, okay. Now what we need to have in mind is that a lot of full sun, especially in summer, spring, you know, the months that the sun is really warm, really hot, it will get burned. Mine actually started getting some really fried pieces, so I moved it back at this shade and it is doing great. Now this can survive in indoor environment. I have it outside, but indoors, wonderful. It will do its job. It will decorate your place and it will look stunning. So what I would actually recommend for this plant is as much light as you can provide without it being direct, and it will thrive. Now to the watering of this plant, it acts like a succulent. It is actually a coral cactus, type of cactus, but it is tropical. Go figure out. You can water it when it gets a bit of dry. At the one top inch of the soil, you can go ahead and water it, or you can wait for it to just get really dry, like you would do in a cactus, in a regular cactus, and it will survive. These little plump leaves and stems can actually get and keep some water in them, so it can survive like a succulent, but it won't have such a huge problem with more frequent watering. Now if you overwater it, of course it will die. All plants die. It is something that we should just learn to do just right. But you see that this is dry, you water. You see that this is dry, it is not dead, again you water, and you are good to go. You better watch the video till the end because I am going to show you something really cool. As far for the soil requirements, I would actually suggest a type of succulent cacti mix, and it will do good. If you want to make your own type of soil mix, well then you can add some perlite, maybe some sand, some pebbles. You know, we need a good drainage. We don't need this little guy sitting in water. It will have problems. But still it is easy to care for. If you are really into over-analyzing things, well, this plant likes an acidic type of soil. This is something with a pH of 5 point something to 6.5, and it will do great. I haven't done any experiments with more basic type of pH or more acidic type of pH. I still have it in the soil that it had when I bought it. I know. Guilty. I have to report this because everybody knows that when the time passes, the soil actually loses its efficiency. So we should repot our plants as frequently as they need. Every 1 to 2 years, I would say. Fertilizing is really important for all our plants, and this one is not an exception, but still it will continue to grow even without fertilizer if the soil has the needed nutrients in it. Now, I would actually recommend maybe some organic or some soft fertilizer like an 888 or a 10-10-10. I wouldn't go to the really harsh and strong fertilizers. I don't think that it needs it. It just continues to grow and it is thriving. So something soft, something organic maybe is the best way to go with this little cute plant. As you can see, we have the main growth that actually looks like a coral, and then we get some branches that can eventually hang down. So this is mostly considered a hanging plant. Well, you obviously can just train it to go up, but I think that I really like this epiphyllum kind of style. If you like propagating, then this is your best friend, because this plant can actually root like crazy, like magic. So if you can see here, I've got some roots. I don't know why here, but still we've got some roots. This plant can actually might be easier to propagate than succulents, and I mean it. You just cut it and put it in soil. You just remove a piece and let it root. Look here, new roots here. It will root like crazy. That is why a lot of people enjoy just planting it on the ground directly in their gardens, because this little thing will just keep on growing and creating roots along the way, and soon you will have a garden full of this thing. It is a slow grower, but it is so worth it. This plant doesn't need a lot of pruning, I would say. It's just in preference, aesthetic preference. If you want it to be more, tight, close to each other, then you can prune these stems, for example, and get it more under control and propagate the rest, or you just can let it just grow wildly and free, so it goes wherever it wants. That's the way that I am going with this plant. For pests, this plant is really hardy, really strong. Most of the times it won't have any pest problems. Now, keep in mind that if you have a plant exactly near it or touching it that has pests, well, there can be some transfer. I happen to live this situation that I am talking about. Well, I have it outside and I had it actually touching the pot of a fern. And the ferns this time of the year here around, they tend to get some black aphids, and she was full of it. This plant though just got one or two at most, but the thing that I did to get rid of them was just to spray it with a lot of water. Yes, this did not cause any problems. If you do it occasionally for pests, spiders, anything, it will just stay good. I've read that they can also have some problems with scales and mealybugs and spider mites maybe, but this is not so frequent. So I would say just don't worry about pests, just check it from time to time to just be sure, and it will do good. The most fascinating thing about this little plant is that it can actually bloom like a cactus. And the blooms are little tiny, beautiful, yet elegant blooms, and they can have different colors like red, yellow and white. Here this one has white blooms. I haven't actually seen any other YouTube video that show the blooms of these little plants, so I just want to share them with you. I honestly did not expect that my little pot would actually bloom, and I feel so lucky right now. I haven't seen it, and today that I went to grab it for the video, I was like, whoa, we've got blooms, we've got flowers, and it turns out that they are white, and I think that I like it a lot. And we also have a little bloom here that I am going to give you with a little close-up so you can enjoy it. And a lot of new growth. From personal experience, I can say that the thing that stimulates the creation of these little blooms is actually the warmer temperatures. So if you are moving from colder temperatures to warmer temperatures, then you are most likely going to experience some little beautiful flowers, and maybe you could mimic this thing by having it without a heater or something, and then moving it closer to the lamp so it has more light and more warmth, and this can stimulate actually the creation of flowers. Now, we don't have a lot, and I think that I've missed some flowers here and there because I can see some that are already wilt. As you can see, this plant might not be the most famous one, but it is a plant that is really worth it, especially if you like kind of cacti plants that look like tropical plants and they also bloom, but the flowers are cute little and elegant. This is the perfect plant and I can't recommend it enough. And a funny story about why I chose to make a plant care guide for this specific plant, this specific moment, is actually not the blooms and the beauty of this plant, but a tricky question that my neighbor asked me when I was helping her the other day to control some pest problems around her garden. Was that, do you know any plant that needs minimal care, like a cacti, succulent or something, but looks tropical, full, beautiful, lush? So she can buy it as a gift for her daughter, and this plant actually came into my mind like a little spark. I was like, yes, this can work, this looks beautiful when it is fully grown, but even when all of these branches are missing, this looks so good. So I recommended this and I hope that they will find this plant care guide really useful. So that's a win-win for everyone here. That being said, if you are wondering too what your next plant could look like, consider buying one of these because they just need nothing but your love. In the end, I can say that this fast guide did not only affect you and your knowledge about the plant care of this plant, but also my motivation about the care that I've been giving it. So right now I am feeling really positive and ready to serve this little plant with a lot more love and proper care.